Yeah, if you looked back on your life, on the integral parts that helped create the character that you have now, are they more negative or more positive thoughts?
Negative.
Memories?
I would say negative for me.
Really?
I would say positive.
Okay.
I would say positive. Yeah.
How about you?
That helped shape me.
Yeah, so if you look back on integral moments in your life that helped shape the character that you have now, would they be primarily negative or more abundance of positive?
I would say negative. Like the negative things, it sort of brought me back down to like a very surface level of myself, and I had to take a deep dive into myself to find or tap into the tools that I already had within myself to figure it out.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but just if you just do a total span of your life,
Right.
not the most significant thing where you're like, oh,
Right.
this is why I'm right here, right now, because this happened. Just
Right.
you look back in your life, you're saying more negative things happened to you, which shaped David, or do you think the positive things had a bigger impact on you?
No, I'm not saying I had an abundance of negative things.
That's not the question. I just feel like you're taking it as maybe I'm interpreting it wrong.
Right. If there was 100 things that helped develop you into who you are now, would 51 of them be positive or would 51 of them be negative?
Okay. Yeah.
Negative for me.
Okay.
Would you be willing
I
to
would
share
say
one?
negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the way I heard you, I was like, I wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so even being younger, understanding, seeing what my mom had to go through as a child, you know what I mean? Not having a dad around, being around men and wanting, like, she wasn't looking for a father figure for us, but she was looking for someone to be with.
Right.
And there was a lot of shit men in her life, and also having to raise 2 kids while working full time, while we were going to school.
Right.
And it was almost like we had to become adults a little bit faster, but also like I wanted to be a child, and so I would act reckless and not really give a fuck about anything, and like, you know what I mean? Because it's like I don't really have someone like my mom was there, but she had to be at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
at the time.
how many hats can one person wear?
And so it shaped me in the conversations my mom would have, like money doesn't grow on trees, thinking that you have to work your whole life to develop anything in life.
That's like old fashioned. I hate that.
Yeah, and then so to me, I see that as a negative because you look at people that are 18 becoming millionaires overnight and stuff, and it's like, why are people that were our parents' age when we were young working until they died and never became anything, like never gathered enough resources to provide for like their whole family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And now that I'm older, I'm like, the negative things actually shape why I'm educating myself, why I'm in the gym, why I don't want to eat fast food, why, because I've seen a lot of negative stuff. So now it's like, okay, it makes sense on why I want to lean into the positive things that are better for my body, better for my mind, better for my education, because I've seen the bad stuff already and I don't want it.
Yeah, a big driver for me, bro, like why I wanted to be really, I guess like fit and like and really push myself, because for my childhood, I used to get made fun of all the time for being like super skinny and being like just like the weakest person in the room or whatever. And I think that's an example of, you know, majority of my life has been good, I would say, but the things that I kind of, maybe I felt insecure about it, or it was like the, you know, you look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I don't want, like, I'm going to put in the work to get where I want to be or how I want to look or whatever. That's one thing for me. I always like remember when I look in the mirror and see myself now how I look, it's like a reminder. It's like, okay, you don't have to fucking deal with that shit anymore.
I think you've come a long way in the gym. I think you're looking like an athlete now. I think I told you that the other day.
Shoulders getting big.
Going off on that note, you know, it's funny, you brought up the getting made fun of, and I did used to get made fun of when I was like a younger kid, but when I think back to the memories that helped shape me, I grew up in this neighborhood with the best friends anyone could ask for. We had like the dopest childhood. I felt like we did shit that most kids didn't. I think like I had great teachers in my life that really took a liking to me and helped grow me because I saw something at work. Because I started working when I was younger. I'd always had great mentors as bosses. They saw something that, and they would treat me different, you know, and gave me a shot. And everyone that's always given me a shot, it like has just filled me up. And like now that I'm trying to be more, that's why I try to do stuff for people, you know, because like I want to be that person for me, because I felt like a cup being filled up. You know, I had a lot of outlets in my life where people were like, hey, you can do something, you know, and they didn't treat me like, even when I was a dishwasher, they didn't treat me like a normal dishwasher. They saw something and they immediately tried to move me up, to like being in the kitchen, and like it was a nice place, and just at school and stuff like that. I feel like I had a great family that looked out for me, normal parents with like normal guidelines, the rest of my family. So I think that's what helped shape me, is that you can have an impact on other people.
Definitely.
Interesting. It's interesting to see sort of like the difference.
Right.
I think that's our paradigm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because I'd agree with John. The most impactful moments in my life were positive. That's not to say I didn't live through negative things that helped me develop character, but
100%. I agree with you. Yeah, totally.
And when I look back on my life and I'm like, okay, what are the reasons for me being who I am today? I think a lot of it was positive reinforcement or positive impact moment. So it's interesting because it's two positives and two negatives. What you guys between in this group,
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the difference. And when you look back on it, I feel like I can remember the negative moments a lot more clear, right? But the positive ones made the biggest impact.
I would agree.
Right. Like teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big impact on my life, and family. So it's interesting to see the difference in paradigms,